It's Russ from Pro Tools Expert, and I've got myself a copy of the NLS bus plugin from Waves. Now, the best way to explain this is in two parts. The first one is that it's an emulation of three consoles, and you can go over to the Waves site and see in some detail what they are, but they are effectively an SSL board, a Neve board, and Mike Hudge's EMI board, and they are emulations of 100 channels of those different discs. They've been meticulously gone through and measured and emulated, so it's not just one channel, it's lots of the channels across the boards. And it works in a couple of ways. It can either be a console emulation, which is basically that you can use it to put coloration on your channels from the consoles, so you could put your bass through an SSL channel and give it some extra drive and some coloration and some noise. Or it could be the EMI board, or it could be the Neve, and they all have different characteristics. Or you can also use it as a bus mixer. So you can have it on the output stages here. So I've got it on channels here, then I've got it on the outputs as well. Now, depending on where you insert it on your channels as well. So if I inserted this at the top of each channel, then according to the manual, then it works as a coloration system. If I insert it at the bottom behind everything else and start using the summing system and the VCAs, then I have a completely different option there. And basically, they are trying to emulate summing mixing with this NLS bus, nonlinear summing. And effectively, there's a lot of controversy, a lot of discussion goes on. Some people think that summing mixers are the best thing since sliced bread and don't mix without them. Other people think they are nothing more than just smoke and mirrors, and every other opinion in between. There's been quite a lot of discussion on the podcast about this, from people who make them, as well as people who use them, as well as people who don't want to use them and think that it's nothing more than the latest sales idea. So what I'm interested in doing is using this as a summing mixing option. And that's where it gets interesting, because it's not only a summing mixer, it's also got VCA groups as well. And what we mean by VCA groups is, for example, what you can do, you can either use these. So I'll get up my channel here, and you'll see that the channel is nothing more than a drive and a trim, an output. And then we also have a VCA group and a couple of other things. We can add noise to the channel, and we can add whether it's mic, which sort of increases the gain, and add sort of like a pseudo mic channel if you want to really start ramping up the gain on it. And then you have different mixers. Now, at the moment, this is assigned to a VCA group. And what we mean by this, if I open up the VCA tabs, you'll see here there's a group called drums. So anything that's assigned to that group, if we go back again here, and what I'm going to do actually is open that, and I'm opening and leave that open, and open up the main bus. So now anything that goes on here, in terms of the choices I make for the console emulation, at the moment it's the Nevo console, which is the Neve. We can say that without, I don't think, anybody getting sued. If I choose that now, because it's in the group for drums, and you can see there, if you double click, you can name these, rename these. So that, and that, and that, all of these are in the drums group. So let me keep a couple open, and then let me also, again, open up the main bus. So at the moment, because they're in a group, and they're assigned to a group, if I come here now and go to mic, you'll see they will jump to the mic group, because they're in a VCA group that I'm working on, a console group, which is quite handy, and they're being all summed through that console then. So basically what I've done is got all my kit, and you see I've got my kit going through there, and then I've got my bass and my guitars and my keys and my Vox and my percussion. And then I can do a couple of things. I can also do then coloration on the entire group and trim on the entire group as well. So basically I've got sort of sub-stems here going on now. I can bring those up and down in the group. So if I just, for example, play this track and just put on the drums, let's just put them into a mix group and play that. Should play. Let's get it up a bit further where the drums are actually cracking out a bit more. So all of this now, as you can see, We have a VCA fader for that entire group of drums, and the drive as well. We're adding the coloration in, and also the noise. So I can really push that saturation and the coloration now, and put it down the VCA group as well to kind of get it balanced out again. You can see we've had a clipping light coming on one of the channels where I pushed it too hard. So there it is with it on. So now what I could do then is go to this group and try the mic desk, which has got some real guts and some real, especially the bottom end. Now again, trim it back as well. I don't want the perceived volume changes to be got some real coloration. Or we go to the SSL desk. Now the great thing is you could either have that on individual channels, but using it like this is really cool. It's almost like I've got my stems now are sitting here in a VCA group. Which is what you could effectively use them as if you wanted to. We could just do some tweaking and some trimming of the stuff as it goes through it. And it's kind of, this is now working as a kind of digital summing mixer. Now, some people who are into summing mixers may think that's anathema of itself, that actually the whole reason of summing mixers is you take them out the door environment and you go into some hardware and back in again. So there's no argument for that as well. So this is not the place to debate that, but I'm saying this is what they're trying to achieve here. On top of that then, we also have the actual bus stuff as well. So we can actually choose different mixers. So there's the SSL, then the EMI, and then the Neve. So if you want to be true to oneself, we could have everything going through Neve. We could choose everything as Neve here and Neve there, and then play the whole mix. Let's just take that out of solo mode. The whole. Or we could change it. We could go to the EMI for all of them now, and we could go just pop those there over to the EMI. You can really hear the coloration there. And again on the actual master bus as well, we could then pull that back. Put the noise back in. Let's go to the SSL then, which is going to be the kind of, should be the kind of brightest and harshest of all three. Kind of received common wisdom would say that the SSL is going to be the brightest and the kind of cleanest of it. Then the Neve would be a kind of really gutsy console, and then this EMI one's just got some amazing coloration, which is just from that Dark Side of the Moon sound. And on the whole, that's what you get. There's more transparency there with the SSL. So, really, that's how it works. And as I say, if you wanted to, instead, you could use it as just coloration on your channels rather than as a kind of a virtual summing mixer. So, what do I think? I was pretty skeptical when I actually decided to try this out and do a review on it. But I have to say, having used it and put it on a mix and tried it on a mix, I have to say it's one of the very few plugins that has surprised me in how good it is and how not just the coloration. Now, you might have read my recent article about are these like the real thing? In one way, some people are going to say, well, it's important that they do sound like the real thing. And in another way, I'm thinking to myself, well, who cares? Does it sound good anyway? And I have to say that using it on a mix has really, I really tried it on a mix. It's got some really great sounds. And so we've got some stuff in there as well. We can compare our stuff, and we can load in some stuff as well. So we can go Spike's Master. Hear the top end coming back out there. You really drive some of these, like drive this. You can really hear that start to break up at the top end. Flakiness at the top, and then you put in the mic console and you that lovely creamy bottom end, and especially if we put it on like the drums and the bass. Trim that back a bit so we're getting levels. Again, we can go into individual stuff as well. We can come in here on the kick. Trim that back a bit. Drive that snare more. That's nice. Let's drive those overheads as well. In fact, let's put those into mic mode. You can hear that now. I've also got a dual mono switch as well, put it in stereo. Let's just drive this nice and hard. There's room mics. Lovely. Hear them opening up that mid-top end. I have to say the character is excellent. So there we go, a big thumbs up from me, and I have to say very, very impressed by it. I think it's excellent. There's lots of emulation stuff out there, there's lots of console emulations, but this is a kind of mix of that and a virtual summing environment as well. And I'm not a summing mixer owner, I don't use them, but I have to say, having used this virtual summing mixer, I'm very impressed with the results that it's given me. And I have to say, it's an excellent, excellent product from Waves, perhaps the best one I've used of all the Waves products, and I'm going to give it Editor's Choice Award. So well done, Waves, the first one from us, I think, and try it out, download the demo and see what you think and let us know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.